Some destinies collide in unexpected ways. Elena stood on the fringes of her life, shadows draping over her like a heavy cloak. The village of Eldros sprawled beneath the cold, unyielding gaze of the castle. She, an Omega, spent her days in silence, shackled by family debts looming like storm clouds ready to unleash. At 23, Elena felt the relentless weight of the world. Shame hung heavily around her neck. Her unique voice, a gift from the gods, had been silenced, lingering only in the flutter of her heart, echoing through her thoughts. The villagers whispered as she passed, their voices sharp daggers. Weak. Useless. Those words stung, carving deep into her spirit. No dreams for Elena, just survival, just silence. Scars from her past lived in the shadows that followed her, warnings of a future trapped in expectation. Shutting out the world, she learned to stay invisible, her enchanting gift of song used in secret. Her notes harmonized with sorrow, echoing her longings and fears. Orphaned before her teens, she had become a ghost in her own life. Her parents' suffocating desires had wrapped around her spirit like chains, stifling any hope of independence. Instead of soaring, she found solace in the shadows, shunning the criticism of her peers who branded her unworthy. Every day was a reminder of her supposed insignificance. Yet, high above, the castle loomed, a fortress ruled by Gareth, the alphaking. 4 centuries old, he roamed the halls of his castle, legend wrapped around him like a cloak. His iron-fisted reign cast a long shadow that terrified his subjects. A fierce protector, a lonely soul. Those truths weighed heavily, intertwined but separate. Gareth hadn't prepared for today, the festival, a spectacle of life and light against the backdrop of his isolation. He hadn't expected anything, especially not her. The villagers celebrated, but beneath his shell of duty, pain ebbed like a wound unhealed. The moment he set foot outside the castle walls, he was not just a king, he was a man shrouded in scars. Elena held her breath as the vibrancy of the festival unfolded, colors blurring into one another. Laughter and merriment erupted, but she stood still, an observer in her own life. There she was, the Omega, the shame of her family, hidden among those who thrived. She could almost taste the joy, yet it felt like a distant echo. Then she caught a glimpse of him. Gareth. He stood tall, radiating an authority that commanded respect. Her heart raced. Gravity pulled her toward him. She stumbled, careening through the throng, unprepared for the moment she would come face to face with her reality. His presence, a spark, ignited something deep within her. What was this sensation? But fate had its designs. Suddenly, a howl pierced the festive air. Panic shot through the crowd. A rogue pack emerged from the trees, their eyes glinting with malice. Chaos erupted. Fear curled in her stomach as the villagers shouted and scrambled for safety, but Gareth surged into action, a force of nature. In the madness, he locked eyes with Elena. She felt the world fade away, replaced by the heat of his power. He reached for her, pulling her into his protective circle. Her heart raced. This was no longer just a festival. This was a collision of fates. The heat radiating from him, the raw strength of his presence, put her senses on high alert. Could she handle the truth of being so close to him? Would her past shatter the delicate moment before it even began? As chaos reigned around them, one thing was clear. Their paths had crossed. A moment that could lead to liberation or disaster loomed ahead. Would she dare to embrace it? Next, I'll move on to Block 2, exploring the backstory and context further. Elena had been raised in a home defined by strict expectations, each demand echoing like a drumbeat in her mind. Her parents imposed their lofty desires upon her, aligning her fate with family obligations as tightly as shackles. Their debts, insurmountable and relentless, wrapped around her spirit like a heavy fog, suffocating dreams of independence. Orphaned by tragedy before entering her teens, she had learned to navigate a world that demanded invisibility. The song that flowed through her veins became a hidden treasure, revealed only in her private moments. Those melodies harmonized with her sorrow, woven through with longings and fears that few could ever understand. In the quiet hours of the night, under the cover of darkness, she would sing softly to the stars, letting her heart spill into the night sky. But during the day, she stayed silent. Those around her deemed her weak, branded her unworthy. She could only hear their whispers, their laughter, cutting deeper than any blade. Her childhood had faded into a blur of mundane chores and bitter resentment. Expectations weighed heavily on her, a constant reminder of the family she had lost. At every turn, she was told who she should be. The noose of obligation tightened with each passing year. The haunting scars left by those demands etched an indelible mark on her spirit, leaving her wandering through the village with a heavy heart and an empty gaze. Meanwhile, Gareth's history had crafted him into the solitary ruler he was today. Once, a thriving warrior full of life and laughter, tragedy stripped away his loved ones, leaving only betrayal and political machinations as memories of what could have been. The brutality of those losses settled deep in his bones. Over time, he learned to shield himself behind walls, fortifying his heart from any potential heartbreak. Now, the castle was merely a fortress echoing with ghosts of vibrant laughter, a stark contrast to his present void of companionship. Each day was marked with the dull thrum of duty, the weight of the crown crashing down upon his shoulders. He could hear the whispers, too, those of the servants who moved through the halls like shadows. They gossiped about his isolation, their words reaching him in hushed tones. What man can rule alone, they seemed to ask. But what did they know of loss? Of the grief that tainted every connection, every relationship? Gareth often trekked through the woods surrounding Eldros, seeking solace among the trees as he confronted the memories of those he lost. The howl of the wind through the branches reminded him of the laughter of his sister, the sparkle of her eyes before betrayal turned to darkness. He had chosen this path, allowing solitude to become his only companion. Yet beneath his stoic exterior, he longed for connection, someone who could see him for who he was, not just the king he portrayed. As whispers and legends of the Lycan king circulated the village, those around him painted an image of an invincible protector. They spoke of his bravery, but few understood the depths of his sorrow, a heart that had become heavy under the weight of grief. He often wondered if he was destined to live a life shrouded in shadow, forever haunted by choices that had rippled through generations. But today, the air was different. The village festival, an occasion meant for joy, felt stark against his senses. Laughter echoed off the castle walls, bouncing in a way that betrayed the heaviness in his chest. For every jubilant cheer, he could sense an undercurrent of unease running beneath it, a reminder that vulnerability could erupt at any moment, just like the rogue pack that now disrupted their tranquility. Elena felt it too. She had watched him from afar, her heart hammering in her chest. Could they be so different, she wondered? Two souls entangled by the burdens of expectation, yearning for release. Tonight was supposed to be festive, yet she was aware of Gareth's lingering solitude, his battle to break free from the chains of his own past. She was a reflection of his struggles, the weight of their experiences intertwined in the most profound ways. And as the chaos erupted around them, their paths converging like stars in a night sky, it became clear. They were each other's answer, a force capable of overcoming the scars that bound them to their pasts. But would they ever grasp the opportunity wrapped in this chaos? Would they seize the moment of connection? Or would they retreat into their respective shadows, forever longing for the light they could find in each other? Deep inside, hope flickered like a candle in the dark, yet fear clung like shadows, threatening to douse that light entirely. Next, I'll work on Block 3, focusing on the collision and recognition of Elena and Gareth's connection. The air crackled with tension, a storm brewing on the horizon, Chaos reigned as the rogue pack surged from the tree line, predatory eyes glinting with malevolence. Screams and shouts filled the air, drowning out laughter, a cacophony of fear overwhelming the village festival, shattering the fragile veneer of celebration. Every instinct in Elena screamed to flee, her heart racing like a wild beast. But Gareth stood firm, a pillar of strength amid the chaos. As he moved, commanding attention, he radiated power and authority, and for the first time she saw not just the king, but a man determined to protect. He thrust a hand up, his voice booming over the din. "Stay back, protect your families, I'll handle this." Elena watched, awe mingled with fear as he unleashed his wrath against the attackers, moving with the grace of a wolf, deadly and untamed. Raw energy pulsed through the air as Gareth leaped into battle, a whirlwind of fury and skill. She felt the pull of his power, stirring something deep within her. It ignited a flicker of courage she hadn't known existed. Then it happened. A rogue lunged at Gareth, teeth bared, vicious intent clear. Time slowed. She couldn't just stand there. With every heartbeat, motivation surged. Without thinking, Elena dashed forward, propelled by instinct and newfound resolve. She found a makeshift weapon, a stout branch, and swung it wildly, an attempt to distract the rogue. It connected, striking the creature against its side. "Get back!" Gareth shouted, glancing over with wide eyes. The moment their gazes locked, an electric spark ignited between them, a connection that resonated through the chaos. Shock widened his eyes, but there was something else. Recognition? The flicker of something profound passed between them, words unspoken but felt. "Stay close," he urged, battling the rogue, his fierce energy radiating as he dispatched the threat with precision. He narrowed his focus back to her, fierceness tempered with an edge of concern. Elena realized in that moment that she wasn't hiding anymore. She wasn't a shadow. She was bold, a flame with a newfound bravery coursing through her veins. The performance she had always envisioned in the solitude of the night was unfolding now, not in song, but in action, the lyrics echoing in her heart. As the fight raged, Gareth fought to protect not only the village, but the courage blossoming inside her. The intensity of the moment drew them together, forging an unbroken bond. For the first time, Elena felt alive and real, purpose coursing through her. With each rogue they faced down together, the space around them shrank, their connection firming like a lifeline. But the battle was unforgiving, demanding focus, and sweat dripped from Gareth's brow, stamina waning. "Stay behind me!" he barked as another rogue lunged, but this time she wouldn't retreat. "I won't!" she shouted, raising her weapon. Before she knew it, Gareth turned, the heat of his fierce glare igniting a fire within her that had long been dormant. "Elena, this is dangerous," he urged, but she stood firm, ready to defend not only herself, but him too. Then everything shifted. The rogue pack, disoriented and struggling, began to falter. Gareth sensed the tide turning in their favor, but victory had a cost. It was a painful dance of strength, each breath labored, each heartbeat resonating with the weight of the moment. In an explosion of fury, Gareth swung at one final rogue, sending the beast flying back into the trees. As the last of the attackers fled, the villagers erupted into cheers, relief flooding the air like a refreshing rain after a scorching drought. But for Elena and Gareth, silence reigned, a bubble surrounding them as the rest of the world faded away. Gareth, his chest heaving, eyes locked on hers, saw in that instant what he had long forgotten. They weren't just two beings bound by duty. They were connected, two halves of something greater. "Are you all right?" His voice, low and strained, held a vulnerability that caught her off guard. She nodded, heart hammering still. "You fought like a warrior. And you stood beside me." A small, genuine smile broke through the tension, warming her even as darkness had loomed only moments before. They stood amidst the chaos, the fires of the festival slowly dying down, the air heavy with the remnants of smoke. Yet something new infused it, a possibility. "Do you feel it?" she whispered, the words tumbling out before she could stop them. He swallowed hard, eyes focused, searching for something within her gaze. "What do you mean?" "This connection," she breathed, heartbeat echoing in her ears. "I felt it when we fought. We're not just a king and an omega, it's deeper." Gareth's expression softened, shadows falling away. The weight of his crown didn't matter now. He was simply a man, a kindred spirit, yearning for understanding. "I know. I never expected. I haven't felt this way in a long time." Hope nestled in her heart, but it brought questions too, questions that hung heavy, threatening to cloud the moment. Could this connection bloom in the harsh light of reality? Could they forge a bond beyond their circumstances? Just then, a distant howl broke the silence, a chilling reminder of the battle they had just faced. The danger might have subsided for now, but the world outside was still filled with shadows and lurking threats. "Stay," Gareth urged, and the gravity of his plea struck her. Their war might not be over, but together they felt more than capable of facing whatever lay ahead. As they stood together, the flicker of hope transformed into something tangible, something larger than life. Would they dare to step into this new light together? Would the shadows that haunted them fade away for good? Next, I'll develop Block 4, focusing on their development and vulnerability as they navigate their growing connection. The chaos of the festival was fading, but the unsettled energy pulsed between them like a living thing. Gareth's hand brushed against Elena's, a simple touch that sent sparks racing through her. She could feel the warmth in his gaze, pulling her closer, holding her steady, as if they alone could weather the storm that loomed on the horizon. "Come," he said softly, his deep voice carrying an undercurrent of urgency. He led her away from the remnants of the celebration, stepping into the shadows where the light from the fires couldn't reach. The world around them felt alive, almost electric with possibilities and unspoken truths. They found refuge at the edge of the woods, where tall trees swallowed their silhouettes. Here, the noise was muffled, and the chaos of the festival faded, until all that remained was the sound of their mingled breaths. "Thank you for," he began, but paused, searching for the right words. "For standing by me." Elena looked down, brushing the dirt from her fingers. "I couldn't let you fight alone," she admitted, not daring to meet his eyes. Her heart raced, a wild bird trapped in a cage of uncertainty. "I've always been weak. I was just so tired of hiding." "Weak?" Gareth's tone was incredulous, belief rigid in his voice. "You fought today when everyone else fled. You stood beside me when danger was closing in." His fierce conviction wrapped around her, igniting a warmth that dissolved the chill of feeling inconsequential. "But I'm just an omega," she murmured, the words an echo of the hurt she had harbored for so long. "What's an omega against an alpha?" He stepped closer, urgency replacing the distance that once felt insurmountable. "You underestimate yourself. You have a strength I admire, a bravery that attracts me." The reverberation of his words trapped her breath in her chest. She could see it in his eyes, the weight of power, the expectation, but also something more, something raw, heartfelt. "What do you mean?" His gaze never wavered. "I've lived in solitude, cut off from everyone. My heart has become as distant as the stars," he declared, his voice thickening with emotion. "But when you stood by me today, when I saw you, I realized what I've been missing. You're different, Elena, more than any title, any rank." Her heart fluttered, the knot of regret and longing released like a captured bird. "Gareth, this can't be real." The rush of honesty, a torrent of feelings overwhelming her senses. "We come from two worlds. I'm a nobody. Not to me." He took another step closer, this time closing the gap entirely. You're an essential part of this world. Don't let the past bind you. He reached out, fingers grazing her jaw, sending tremors through her body. You have a light that shatters the darkness of my castle. I can't ignore it. Elena felt the weight of his words inside her chest, rising and burning, longing. We don't belong together, she whispered. But a part of her yearned for this moment, for him, his closeness igniting a fire that she thought extinguished. But he shook his head. You're wrong. I need someone who sees me as I am, not just the king, but the man. His thumbs traced gently along her skin, the softness of his touch causing her breath to catch. And you need to believe you are more than what others say. The air thickened between them, electric with possibility. Could it be true? Was there a world where she could be loved for everything she was, free from the judgment of others? The chaos around them faded, and time slowed, giving room to introspect. But what if— Don't think, he interrupted, his hands framing her face, grounding her. Feel. The weight of the moment enveloped them. She could see the galaxies in his eyes, vast and inviting, promising something more. Then, their lips met, a tentative touch, a soft exploration of souls colliding. His kiss was warm, tender, and filled with an urgency that sent waves racing through her. It was a promise made in the quiet of their hearts, shattering the confines of their worlds. Gone were the expectations. Here was only connection. Elena melted into him, heart hammering endlessly, a wild cacophony in her ears. She could taste the air, the remnants of smoke tinted with the sweetness of life. Lost in his embrace, she forgot about being an omega, about the fears that had hounded her. Then she pulled back, breath shaky, eyes bright with wonder. What are we doing? This can't be allowed, Gareth. The kingdom will never accept. He cradled her face, his thumb brushing across her cheek. I don't care, he declared. It's not just a connection, it's so much more. And I will face the kingdom for you. Her heart soared, but doubt still gripped her. And what if they don't understand? What if— What ifs can paralyze you, he countered, his breath mingling with hers. I don't want to let fear dictate our choices. Let's defy expectations. But another howl cut through the air, an ominous reminder of the dangers lurking beyond their newfound sanctuary. Memories of battle coursed through her, shaking her confidence. We just face down danger. What if it comes back? What if we fail? Gareth grasped her tighter, a steadfast pillar against the darkness looming over them. Together, we can confront any threat that comes. My past does not define our future, and neither should yours. He spoke with conviction, and she could see it, feel it in the depths of his soul. It anchored her, calming the roiling storm of insecurity. You're braver than you give yourself credit for, he added softly. And I promise, I won't let you go. Together, she echoed, holding on to the faith entwined in his words. The shadows that had once gripped her heart began to fade, replaced by an ember of possibility. But as they stepped back into the world beyond the trees, the uncertainty loomed heavy once more. Questions still lingered unanswered, but a flicker of hope ignited within her. This was just the beginning. Would they uncover the strength within themselves to fight not just for each other, but for their respective futures? Next, I'll dive into Block 5, where their relationship is put to the test in the face of an impending crisis. The moon loomed overhead, casting an eerie glow that bathed the castle grounds in uncertainty. The unsettling stillness settled in the air, wrapping around Gareth and Elena like a thick fog. The earlier spark of hope now felt distant as shadows stretched long across the courtyard. Come on, Gareth said, his voice steady yet urgent. He pulled Elena closer as they approached the castle entrance. We need to get inside. It's not safe out here. Elena's heart raced. The memory of the rogue pack's howls echoed in her mind, a constant reminder of the danger that lingered just beyond the walls. "What if they come back?" she asked, anxiety lacing her words. "They won't," Gareth replied, his grip reassuring her even as dread crawled along her spine. "But if they do, we'll face them together." The intensity in his gaze ignited a flicker of courage within her. As they stepped through the castle gates, a flicker of movement caught her eye. From the shadows emerged a cloaked figure shrouded in darkness. Their presence sent a chill hanging in the air. "Ah, the infamous Lichen King," the figure sneered, voice low and menacing. "How amusing that you think you can keep your precious kingdom safe." Gareth stepped in front of Elena, a fierce guardian ready to protect what was his. "Who are you?" His tone was thunderous, radiating a strength that steeled Elena's resolve. "Someone seeking revenge," they hissed, malevolence dripping from their words. "You've ruled with fear and isolation for far too long. It's time you face the consequences." Elena's stomach twisted. "What do you want?" she demanded, stepping out from behind Gareth, her heart pounding. "Your king's downfall," the cloaked figure spat, "and to expose the shame of having a nobody like you at his side." Gareth's fury flared, his gaze dark and determined. "You'll have to go through me." Without warning, the figure lunged, a dagger gleaming in the moonlight as they attacked. Gareth dodged just in time, but the figure was agile, a blur of movement intent on causing chaos. "Get back!" Gareth shouted, desperation lining his features. But Elena wouldn't be pushed back this time. Panic surged through her. She grabbed a heavy shard of stone from the ground, using it as a weapon as adrenaline pumped through her veins. "No, I won't let you fight alone," she shouted, rushing forward. "Stay behind me," he called, but she didn't listen. The battle began. Gareth met the figure's blows with ferocity, but the rogue seemed built for quick strikes, striking with precision. Elena charged, her heart racing as she swung the shard, narrowly missing the attacker, but distracting them enough for Gareth to push back. "Don't let them corner you," Gareth commanded, shifting his stance, forcing the rogue away. But just as they regained momentum, a chorus of howls erupted from the darkness. Panic gripped her heart. "Gareth, we need to move!" "Stick close to me," he roared, eyes blazing with intent. More figures materialized, an entire rogue pack rushing towards them. The terror of it all nearly consumed her. But before dread could take hold, Gareth transformed, muscles rippling under the dim light as he shifted into his lichen form. A deep growl rumbled from his throat, resonating powerfully. He had become a raw embodiment of strength. With his transformation, the tide of battle shifted. The rogues hesitated, eyes wide with uncertainty as Gareth charged, a feral force of nature. "Now, Elena, move," he urged. The fight was eruptive now, each blow resonating with the force of their connection. Legs surged forward, blades flashing in the night as they worked as one, a duo forged in fire. "Don't hold back," Gareth growled, purpose driving him. Elena felt the energy coursing through her, felt fierce and alive. She wouldn't retreat. She fought. They pushed against the pack, defending each other with desperate intensity, driving the attackers back one by one. Breathless, they fought until the last rogue fell, leaving only silence in the aftermath. Gareth shifted back yet again, panting heavily, beads of sweat dotting his brow. He looked at her, worry etched into his features. "Are you hurt?" "I'm fine," she said, though the pain in her shoulder shot through her as she raised her arm. The adrenaline faded, leaving exhaustion in its wake. "We did it. Together. Promise me you won't pull away again." "I promise," she whispered, feeling clarity settle within her. Despite the danger, they had faced it all, strengthened by their bond. But uncertainties still lay hidden in the shadows. The whispers of what had just happened haunted the corners of her mind. What would the kingdom think of their union? Would they uphold their love or tear them apart? The battle for acceptance would be just as fierce as the one they had fought. "I know the kingdom has expectations," Gareth said, stepping closer, determination in his eyes. but we have to trust that love can conquer those fears. Yes, together. I won't let them tear us apart. Not ever. Yet as they stood amidst the quiet aftermath, the ground stained with the remnants of battle, the shadows of their past loomed large. Would they rally the kingdom in their favor? Could they rise above the uncertainty gripping each of them? With Gareth by her side, Elena felt a flicker of hope. They had fought fiercely for each other. Surely they could embrace a future together amidst the lingering darkness. Next, I'll dive into Block 6, highlighting the kingdom's response to their union and the resolution of their love story. The dawn broke over Eldros, the sun casting a warm embrace that contrasted sharply with the chaotic night that had just passed. Elena stood on the castle balcony, her heart racing at the thought of what lay ahead. Gareth joined her, his presence both grounding and electrifying. "They're waiting," he said, his voice low, eyes focused on the courtyard below. The castle buzzed with activity as whispers filled the air, anticipation thick. The villagers had gathered, their faces a mix of curiosity and uncertainty, waiting to see what the king would declare. Elena turned to him, an apprehensive flutter in her chest. "Do you think they'll accept us?" "Acceptance won't come easy," Gareth replied, determination framing his features. "But they need to understand what we fought for, what we stand for." "And what is that?" she asked, searching his gaze. "Love," he said simply. "The strength we found in each other is what this kingdom needs." Together, they stepped into the great hall, the echoes of their footsteps reverberating through the vaulted space. The throne loomed above, representing centuries of power and expectation. Gareth approached it, Elena by his side, heart pounding. The murmurs quieted as the king gestured for silence. His stature filled the room, a commanding presence that radiated authority. "People of Eldros, we stand together on the edge of change." Elena felt eyes boring into her, some filled with skepticism, others curious. A voice called from the crowd, "You didn't protect us. You let the rogues attack." "Silence," Gareth snapped, yet there was warmth behind his command. "Understand this. Elena fought by my side. She risked everything just like I did. We fought for this kingdom, for all of you." "And what is a king without someone at his side?" Another voice shouted, dripping with disdain. "An Omega? You choose to disgrace your throne?" Elena's breath caught. Her heart strained against the weight of their words. But Gareth didn't falter. He stepped forward, defiance lodged in his voice. "An Omega, yes, but one who is strong, brave, and worthy of respect. We are united, and this bond is not something to be ashamed of." Murmurs surged through the crowd, a mixture of agreement and dissent. Each ripple sent strength through her. She refused to be silenced. "I have always been an Omega," she addressed the crowd, lifting her chin defiantly, "but I am not defined by it. My strength lies in fighting for what I love, and that is worth every sacrifice." The room fell into an uncomfortable silence. She felt the air grow thick with tension, every breath hanging on a precipice. A bold figure emerged from the crowd, an elder with graying hair. "Your union defies tradition," he declared, crossing his arms. "What guarantee do we have that this will not lead us into chaos?" Gareth stepped closer to Elena, reaffirming their bond as they stood united against the sea of faces. "We guarantee strength through love, not division," he replied fiercely. "The past has taught us lessons that bring us here today. It's time we break the cycle of fear and embrace a new kind of future." With a deep breath, Elena added, "Our story is not just ours. It's a promise to build a kingdom where everyone can stand as equals. Love is a revolution, and we start it here." Slow murmurs cascaded through the hall, laced with curiosity and growing support. They infused her with heart. "Will you fight for our kingdom together?" Gareth posed, eyes scanning the crowd, searching for a flicker of hope. "Will you stand with us?" A beat of silence hung, and then slowly a voice called out, "Yes," echoing throughout the hall, igniting a spark. Yes! More voices joined in, resonating as the crowd began to rally, their fears melting into burgeoning belief. Elena looked around, hope igniting within her. One by one, more voices joined in, chanting their unity. Together, together, together. Elena's heart swelled, warmth flooding through her. They were ready to embrace a different tomorrow. As Gareth took her hand, a smile split his face, shining with triumphant pride. "This is just the beginning," he said softly, his breath sending shivers of love racing through her. In the moments following, she seized the emotion within her. "It truly is," she exclaimed brightly, feeling invincible. They were bound not just by love, but by a shared dream of unity and acceptance. The future lay before them, hazy but promising. In that moment, surrounded by the chants of their people, it became clear that they would not let the shadows of fear hold them back. They had fought and won, not only for their romance, but for the very soul of Eldros. And as the crowd erupted into celebrations, a new chapter began to unfold. A life fueled not just by love, but by a community united under a singular banner of hope, where the bonds of love transcended the barriers that once confined them. If you enjoyed the story of Gareth and Elena, the fierce love that conquered all, don't forget to subscribe for more epic Lycan King romances. Hit the notification bell so you never miss a story. And remember, love knows no bounds. Thank you for listening.